Can you install Windows on the Chromebook? That is exactly what we're going to be exploring today, so stick around to see what happens. Now, there's a faction of you that just don't like the Chrome OS that is on your Chromebook. It's limiting, it doesn't have the processing power to do a lot of things, and there's another faction of you that pretty much just want to see if Windows can actually run on a Chromebook. Whatever category you're in, this video is going to explore every single angle and every single aspect to this topic. Do not be frightened, do not be shocked, do not be surprised, but on this very segment of this video, we're going to put away this black Chromebook and we're going to bring on screen this stylish and nicely painted Chromebook. Now, there is a whole story to this thing, and so just stick along. I see, back in my high school days, I thought I was an artist, and so basically what I did was that I decided to go out with a friend one day. We took out some spray cans, and then basically we only taped the Chrome sign. That is why it's visible, and then probably this side probably tore off sometime later after that, but I don't know what happened after that. Now, basically, we took out a white spray can and we both sprayed the top of our Chromebooks. I think he had a PC, I had a Chromebook. And so we sprayed this thing white, and then basically I go over with a little pink on this side, as you can see here. And then I thought, okay, what would it look like to have a golden Chromebook? Why don't we try some gold? And so I tested out some gold here, and I just saw that, okay, this is not going as planned, and so let's probably end it there. And what happened at the end is that I left out the Acer, I left out the Chrome, and all we had was just this Chrome bar sitting there. Now, basically, I left this out in the sun, left this out in the rain, and surprisingly, this thing still works. This is what I got back in high school, but you know, before that, I know you see this as a blue Chromebook, but this is actually not a blue Chromebook. This is a white Chromebook. I had two Chromebooks lying around. Basically, I don't know if you can see this, but there is this kind of crack in the sideways to this thing, and basically, I don't know if that is what spoiled the Chromebook or if it was just the cables that wore out, or maybe it's a backlight, but I don't know what happened to this. I actually took off this white one and I put on this blue one because that was what was still working, and this thing, I tell you, has outlasted this almost 2 more years. I don't know if it's the module or if it's the color that just did the magic, but basically this Chromebook is pretty much washed out. If I pick it up right now, you can see that the screen is probably torn apart. You can see the internals of this Chromebook. I don't know if you can see this properly. This is like the internals, this is the hinge. I basically tore this apart back in the day, and then I just fixed on this blue part of everything, and this is basically the backlight, the internals of it. It's probably just sticking out, and then you also have the side that is probably broken. I don't know if you can see this. It has a cable right there, and then probably if you pick this up, this is what it's going to look like under the camera. Now, basically, I had this thing for a couple of years. I think back in high school, it was pretty useful, pretty good to use. As long as you're doing schoolwork, Chromebooks are very good. But apart from that, I just felt like this thing has outlasted its time, especially the screen and probably the bottom as well. It's probably not reprogrammable. You can't take out the RAM, you can't take out the SSD. You can't really upgrade this that much. It can't really do as much as you'd want it to do when it comes in terms of a Chromebook. Now, practically, we can't use this for anything. It's probably still going to work. It's probably going to power up. It's still going to have the screen working. The screen is washed out. It still works though. It still works pretty much okay. But the fact with this is that it actually has some kind of lines and it's dying in and coming back out. I don't know if you've ever seen it on any computer screen. And so let's put this aside and let's try and get another Chromebook. So what I did was that I went online and I actually tried to find a Chromebook that we could use for this video. And so I went and I came across this Chromebook that is called the I don't know if you can see this for yourself, but it's the Chromebook 113180. I don't know if I flip this around. This is what I found online. It was pretty cheap. Now, this thing should be around, let's say, $50 to $100. It was pretty cheap. I just needed something that I could use to demonstrate for this video, and so I got this black Chromebook that you see on the table, and this is pretty much new. I don't know how much this is going to last compared to this, but I think that this particular Chromebook that I had previously really did some magic for me back in the day. I recall playing NBA on this thing. I also played Creative Destruction. I played a lot of Minecraft on this thing. It was really good to play Minecraft on. It was really nice. I think I was averaging about 45 FPS, but this thing was pretty good for Minecraft back in the day because I didn't really want that much FPS or need that much FPS, to be honest. I don't really expect any beefy stuff to come out of this Chromebook. It's pretty much a Chromebook. It doesn't have the best specs for anything. It's just for schooling. If you just want to use Google Apps, I mean, that's what's best for. Now, I have no idea if you can see what's on my screen, but basically I'm trying to log in and sign onto this Chromebook. I mean, the bezels don't, like, they look out of proportion. I don't know if you feel that same way, but basically, I don't know if this Chromebook was remodeled, because if you look at the bezels, you can see that it's really not hitting the tip of the screen. I don't know if that is how this module came out, but maybe it could be refurbished or something like that. And it also came in German. I don't know why it was that way, but okay. So the native display is actually 1366x768, and then if you put it all the way back to 90%, you get 1518 times 853, and so that's like the most it could go. Now, pretty much this has been loading for pretty long. Now, I've also had a I wouldn't call it a Chromebox. I have a desktop that I installed Branch Chrome OS. Now, for those who don't know what Branch Chrome OS is basically a Chrome OS module that can be installed on normal computers. Now, I did this basically because when you're recording videos with a Chromebook, it basically doesn't have the processing power or, you know, the screen resolution to get you what you're looking for. And so I basically had to buy a desktop and then probably install Chrome OS onto that and then hope that it works pretty well. I really don't like this plant in the frame. It's not looking good. The small Chromebook looks better in the frame, doesn't it? I don't think I remember the last time I actually checked out my channel like from the outside. I don't think I remember doing that. And also for the Roblox Studio, guys, this Roblox Studio actually coming on Chromebook. I think that you guys had some kind of error and then we probably went through it and tried to fix it yesterday. Now let's put this in full screen and let's see how the sound actually works on this specific Chromebook.
In this series, we're going to be going over making a platformer game, and we're going to go step by step.
Now basically, I think that the sound isn't that bad. For a Chromebook, it's pretty okay. It sounds pretty regular for any kind of given Chromebook that you have. And so pretty much, that's basically much for the specs, 4 gigs of RAM. And also you could basically, if you're on a Chromebook right now, you could probably just go to your settings and then go to About Chrome OS. This is even locked at 103. That means that that's the last update for this specific Chromebook. I really do not, mind because I'm probably going to have to wipe all this thing off and then get something new that is called Windows, and that's why you're here. Battery life is at 94%. That's pretty good. That means my battery can last, for 4 hours, 37 minutes, and the battery life is 70%. That's pretty good for me because my gaming PC can't even last anywhere near that. And so I think it's a 3060 Nvidia Intel Celeron, sorry, and then it's okay. This is pretty okay. It's not toasty. 45 degrees is actually okay. And it's 83% usage. That means it's not the best. However, we have 4 gigs available. And then I don't know if this is a Chromebook thing or if you guys have never experienced this, but even in the 16 gig RAM with desktop that I have Chrome OS on, it's always hitting like a very, very harsh. I don't like the white mode. It looks very, very, I don't know how to change this. Night light isn't working. Help me, help me, help me, help me. Night light isn't working. I'm spamming this thing. For some reason, even on the 16 gig RAM desktop that I have, the RAM is always running out. I don't know if it's me opening too much stuff or just not knowing what to do, but it's always running out. Now the site we're going to be using for this is called cruisestyle.org. I think I researched this a little bit before I actually made this video. I think a lot of people too have tried this. Basically, you go into this and then you try to get, let me show you this. You can basically click install Windows 10, Windows 11. I think clicking on install. And then once I've clicked on that, I can go ahead and select my Chromebook. I think my Chromebook is a Dell. And then I go ahead and click on next at the bottom here. And then I go ahead and choose the processor I'm using. We just saw that it was a 3060 Intel Celeron. I don't know where exactly that is. Okay, gotcha. Right there. Go ahead and click on next right at the bottom again. And then we can go ahead and now select. You see it says the Dell Chromebook 113180. Yes, that's exactly what we're looking for. And then it says it's incompatible with Windows 11, but then we can have Windows 10, and so scrap it. Let's just go ahead and do it. If I remember back in the day, you pretty much have to close the Chromebook and kind of rig it, and it's exactly the same thing they're showing here. And so why don't we go ahead and try this out and see if it works best. It seems pretty okay, but I think with the newer Chromebooks, you have to actually go ahead and, I don't know, you have to use some kind of star. So I think I had on a video that you might need a USB drive to back up the BIOS so that you don't actually lose the BIOS that you might be needing, but I don't know how I'll be using a USB drive to back up the BIOS and at the same time install Windows. I think that would be a challenge for us to test out and try out. I should have bought probably 2 USB drives instead of one 32GB USB drive. I might have to record this video again if I would need 2 drives. I pretty much have this one that I can use to pry from the side. I also have this one that we could try and use this to pry from the side. I don't know if that's going to work. And then we have these, it looks like a guitar pick to me. I play guitars, and so that is what this thing looks like to me, but let's try both of them and see if all of them work. The screws are refusing to pull out, and so maybe they're kind of locked in by some kind of compartment. I've tried opening some. Okay, so this is pretty much refurbished. I don't know if you see what I'm seeing on my screen now, but basically look here. The person that refurbished just pretty much put screws in the speaker place, trying to probably keep his screws safe, and then he probably kept them there. And then as you can see, the screws have kind of, I don't know if it's some kind of magnet or something. It's kind of magnetized, or yeah, it's kind of stayed on there for a long while. I don't know why you'd put screws in here. Probably he was trying to, maybe a repair or something of that sort, trying to get this thing to work properly. Now basically we have the cooling system, and this Chromebook is still running on. I don't know why it's this way, but if you turn it on, if I just open the screen, you can see that it's still on and it's still running. Okay, I just turned this off. So let's just keep it closed and then let's just not mess with it anymore. Now, if you have a Chromebook or if you're even trying this with me, there are two smart things you can do. I recommend you go ahead and pull out the battery. Before I pulled out the battery, look here. I just realized this is the right protect screw. So this is probably an old model of Chromebooks that had the right protect screw right on them. But if you do not have a right protect screw, then pulling out the battery and connecting a charger is the best way. If this video gets more than 100 likes, I'm going to do a short pulling this thing off. I don't know what's underneath this thing. We don't have much time. Let's pull out the right protect screw and then let's just get going. So basically all you have to do when it comes to developer board is that you just have to go ahead and hit Ctrl Alt and then the power key. Now basically I think this might be outdated because now you don't have to actually go and hit Ctrl Alt T to do anything on this thing. You can actually just go ahead and hit Ctrl and then you can go ahead and click on, let's say, I think Ctrl Alt and then you hit this top bar and then it sends you into the back room or background. Or basically I had to navigate to this Mr. Chromebox place and try to see if I can find anything useful, because basically I think he's the one that we're trying to source the stuff from. I think actually if you look right here, I think the code has changed a little bit. It's cd curl something something. So let's try this new code and see if it works. Basically I don't know if you can see here, I'm not supposed to put an S here. It's just supposed to be util, not utils, and hit enter right away. So if you can see my screen, you can see that mine has the Kefker and then it has the Intel Braswell or whatever that is. But flashing the firmware has potential to break your device. Relatively inexpensive, blah 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 blah. You have been warned. Also, flashing full ROM firmware will remove your ability to run Chrome OS. Do you wish? Let me read this very carefully. I think that the last time I did this, I saw some kind of running rabbit on the screen, and so probably if I see a running rabbit, I know that I'm probably close to getting Windows on my Chromebook. Hope I didn't break this thing. Okay, it's running with the rabbit on the screen. That was pretty intense. That was exactly what I was waiting for now. Verified contains / points to a valid 64 UAV. He was booting from internal EMC field, not found. Click enter to continue. Okay, I think this shell, I've come to this shell several times, and then there's probably something that this is exactly what we want it to be looking like. And so I think the best thing you can do, okay, so now we can even see the full specs of our Chromebook. I don't know if you can see this properly or if it's kind of glitching on your screen. Basically, what I think I'll probably be doing is going to the boot manager or something like that, or boot menu. I don't know if it's boot manager or boot menu or something like that. Then I'll probably choose my pen drive, and so this is probably the point where I have to go and get Windows on this pen drive and then try to get Windows 10 on it. I think Windows 11 should still be possible, but probably the drivers might not match it. So let's just try with Windows 10 and see if that works for us. Now, if you're asking for my honest opinion, I think that Tiny 11 on this thing will run very well. Windows 11 in itself has so much bloatware and probably is going to take up much more space than, you know, Tiny 11 is going to. Now basically I've got my gaming PC that is sitting right here. It's a Rogue GL503 VM, but I've got that one sitting right here, and that is what I'm downloading Windows 10 on right now. And then once I get that working, I'm just going to just transfer that from this place all the way to the Chromebook so that I can see if it can work properly and quickly. This thing is heated, it's hot. This thing is heated and it's red. Okay, so you can see down here that it's loading as though it's the Windows logo or something like that. And so that means that we're getting very close to where we want to be. Finally, we're getting somewhere. And so I'm probably just going to hit next. I've installed Windows several times, but I don't think this is going to work. The keypad is pretty much not working. The touchscreen is pretty much not working as well. Okay, so probably we have to get like external stuff, like an external mouse or stuff to see if it works. Okay, this thing actually worked. I just clicked on install. It's actually working. So if you get a mouse, this is going to work, but if you don't have a mouse, this is not going to work. We do not have a product key, so let's probably click on I do not have a product key. And then let's try and get Windows 10 Pro. That's the one I really like. I'm just gonna go ahead and click on accept the licenses and terms. Click on next. The upgrade option isn't available if you start your computer using Windows installation media. One thing no one ever does is pretty much read through terms and services. I know most people do not do it. But you know, imagine they write something really funny in here and then you actually click on it. Chrome OS has this many partitions. So probably we can just install it and then we could probably just jam all the partitions together later on in another video. I think that would be our best bet. What I think would be best is to go ahead and delete all the partitions and then just let them come together as an NTFS. Okay, so we pretty much had to clean up a lot of space before we were able to get this unallocated drive 0 that has, let's say, 29 gigs, and then we're probably going to click on next and see if this works. Basically, it's just restarting just now, and so I'm just going to wait to see what actually happens. Finally, we are having some action. At long last, we're now saying hi on the Windows screen. We're getting everything ready for you. Finally, we have Windows on our Chromebook. This was no easy task. This is taking me about 2 hours of full recording time to get this thing to work. Let me just take this back a little bit and let me just celebrate my accomplishments in just a short while.